Thank you all for your support. If you enjoy this podcast summary, please consider subscribing. The conversation around masculinity and the struggles of young men has been a long time coming. A recent report by the Center of Social Justice titled The Lost Boys highlights the alarming statistics surrounding the decline of young men in education, employment, and mental health. The report suggests that the root cause of these issues lies in the lack of guidance, discipline, and purpose that many young men are receiving. Logan, a behavioral scientist turned dating coach, shares her insights on the topic, citing data from her research and her work at Hinge. She notes that there is a significant mating gap between the type of men that women are looking for and the type of men that are available. This gap is not just a problem for men, but also for women who are struggling to find suitable partners. Scott Galloway, a data analyst, adds that the decline of men in Western markets is a global phenomenon. He attributes this decline to the loss of male role models, particularly in single-parent households. Galloway notes that boys who grow up without a male role model are more likely to struggle in education, engage in criminal activity, and experience mental health issues. The conversation turns to the topic of education, with Logan highlighting the lack of male teachers in schools. She notes that this can have a significant impact on boys who may not have a male role model to look up to. Scott Galloway adds that the education system is often biased against boys, with behaviors such as sitting still and being organized being prioritized over more masculine traits.
The discussion also touches on the topic of fatherless homes, with Stephen Bartlett sharing statistics on the increase in single-parent households.
Scott Galloway notes that male abandonment is a significant issue, but also acknowledges that family courts can make it difficult for men to stay involved in their children's lives. Logan suggests that boys may be more vulnerable to negative experiences, such as sexual abuse, due to their emotional and mental fragility. She notes that girls are often more resilient in childhood, and that this can have long-term consequences for boys. Scott Galloway suggests that delaying education for boys may be beneficial, as it would allow them to mature at their own pace. Logan notes that the classroom environment may not be suitable for boys, who may require more practical play and exercise. The importance of male role models in boys' lives is also emphasized, with Scott Galloway suggesting that single-sex boys' schools may be more effective in providing a supportive environment for boys. He shares his personal experience of growing up in a single-parent household with a single immigrant mother who made sure to get other men involved in his life. Galloway thinks that society needs to acknowledge the importance of male involvement and encourage men to participate in after-school programs, Boy Scouts, and other activities that can provide positive male role models.
Stephen Bartlett points out that the absence of men in schools is also a concern, with 72% of middle school teachers being women. This lack of male presence can lead to boys being socialized in the same way as girls, which can be detrimental to their development.
Logan believes that this has led to a crisis in masculinity, where men are struggling to find their place in society. The conversation turns to the topic of dating and relationships, with Scott Galloway pointing out that women are now out-earning men in many urban areas. Galloway believes that this has led to a shift in the dating market, where women are looking for men who can provide emotional support and intelligence, rather than just being a provider. Logan agrees, stating that women are looking for men who can offer more than just financial security. She notes that the rise of dating apps has perpetuated the issue of women having high standards and men feeling inadequate. Believes that women need to be more open-minded and willing to consider men who may not meet their initial expectations.
Stephen Bartlett asks what women are looking for in a partner, and Logan responds that height is often a factor, with many women setting their height filters on dating apps to 6 feet or taller. However, she notes that this can be limiting, as only 14% of men in the U.S. are 6 feet or taller.
Encourages women to be more flexible and consider men who may not meet their height requirements. Scott Galloway adds that the media often perpetuates unrealistic expectations for women, telling them that they don't need a man and that they should settle for nothing less than perfection. He believes that this can lead to women having high standards and men feeling inadequate, which can contribute to the dating crisis. The guests agree that men need to be more involved in kids' lives, and that women need to be more open-minded and willing to consider men who may not meet their initial expectations. They also note that the media needs to stop perpetuating unrealistic expectations and instead promote more realistic and healthy attitudes towards relationships. Scott Galloway notes that a man of average attractiveness has to swipe right 200 times to get one coffee date. And even then, 4 out of 5 women will ghost him. This leads to feelings of rejection and low self-esteem, making men more prone to misogynistic and nationalistic content. Galloway worries that this is evolving a new species of asexual asocial male. Logan Urey agrees that the dating world is in a state of crisis, with both men and women feeling misunderstood. Urey also points out that women are asking men to be more emotionally open, but then shaming them when they do. She believes that men need to develop emotional skills, but are not being taught how to do so. Galloway suggests that women want men who can signal resources, intellect, and kindness. He notes that men need to demonstrate excellence in some way, whether it's through their work, education, or physical appearance. Urey agrees that kindness is an important trait, but notes that men are not being taught how to be kind. Urey proposes the idea of men's groups as a way for men to develop emotional skills and support each other. She notes that men's groups can provide a safe space for men to talk about their feelings and struggles, and can help men develop a sense of community and accountability. Galloway agrees that men's groups are a great idea, and notes that they can help men develop emotional intelligence and support each other in a way that is not typically available to them. The conversation highlights the challenges faced by men in the modern dating world, and the need for men to develop emotional skills and support each other. It also notes the importance of kindness and emotional intelligence in relationships, and proposes men's groups as a way to help men develop these traits. However, this is not the norm for many men who often struggle to open up about their emotions and feelings. Logan Urey notes that men are socialized to be strong and stoic, making it difficult for them to express vulnerability. The conversation turns to the topic of loneliness and how it affects men. Scott Galloway believes that men are more likely to struggle with loneliness due to societal expectations and the lack of emotional support. Logan Urey agrees, citing research that shows men are less likely to form close relationships outside of romantic partnerships. The discussion then shifts to the impact of technology on relationships and loneliness. Scott Galloway argues that the widespread availability of porn is a major contributor to the decline of meaningful relationships. He believes that porn can be a substitute for human connection, leading to a lack of motivation to engage in social activities and form relationships. Logan Urey agrees, sharing her own experience of working in the porn industry and seeing the negative effects it can have on individuals. The conversation also touches on the topic of addiction and how it can affect relationships. Scott Galloway shares his own experience of struggling with addiction and how it impacted his relationships. Logan Urey notes that addiction can be a major obstacle to forming healthy relationships. The guests also discuss the importance of rejection resilience and how it can impact relationships. Logan Urey notes that many young people today lack rejection resilience, which can make it difficult for them to form meaningful relationships. Scott Galloway agrees, sharing his own experience of facing rejection and how it helped him develop resilience. The conversation turns to the topic of solutions for addressing loneliness and relationship issues. Scott Galloway shares his approach to coaching young men, which involves helping them find ways to invest their time and energy in meaningful activities. He also emphasizes the importance of physical fitness, financial stability, and social connections. Logan Urey agrees, noting that these are all important factors in building healthy relationships. Scott Galloway shares his own experience of facing rejection and how it helped him develop resilience. Logan Urey notes that rejection is a natural part of life, and that it's essential to develop the skills to cope with it in order to form healthy relationships. This fear of being shamed online has led to a culture where men are hesitant to take the initiative, and instead, women are often left waiting for them to make the first move. However, this can be problematic, as women still expect men to take the lead, and the lack of initiative from men can lead to a lack of romantic opportunities. According to Scott Galloway, the majority of women still expect men to take the initiative, and this is reflected in the fact that more than 50% of men between the ages of 18 and 24 have never asked a woman out in person. This lack of confidence and initiative from men can be attributed to the fact that they are not being taught how to express romantic interest in a respectful and safe way. Logan Urey suggests that one of the solutions to this problem is to allow people to shoot their shot in a non-creepy way. She also emphasizes the importance of social skills and the need for people to be willing to take risks and make mistakes in order to form meaningful connections. The conversation also touches on the topic of drinking and its role in social interactions. Scott Galloway suggests that the decline in drinking among young people may be contributing to the lack of social interactions and romantic opportunities. Logan Urey, on the other hand, suggests that the rise of the sober curious movement may be driven by a desire to be healthy and responsible. In terms of advice for young men, Logan Urey suggests that they should focus on developing their passions and interests, and being effortful and thoughtful in their interactions with women. She also emphasizes the importance of self-improvement and personal growth, suggesting that men should work on becoming the best version of themselves in order to attract a partner. The conversation also touches on the topic of polyamory and the rise of non-traditional relationship structures. However, this shift has also led to a lack of clarity and confusion around what women want from men and how men can best approach them. They touched on the idea that women are often expected to be the primary caregivers for the first 2 years of a child's life, citing research that suggests mothers produce certain hormones that are beneficial for the child's development. Scott Galloway argued that this expectation can be damaging to women, who are often told they can have it all, a successful career and a family, but ultimately struggle to balance the two. The conversation turned to the topic of masculinity and how it is often tied to a man's ability to provide for his family. Scott Galloway stated that in a capitalist society, a man's economic viability is closely linked to his masculinity, and that this can lead to men feeling like they need to be successful in order to be attractive to women.
Stephen Bartlett shared his own experiences with Maine learning from Video I. The discussion highlights the alarming statistics surrounding the decline of young men in education, employment, and mental health. The root cause of these issues lies in the lack of guidance, discipline, and purpose that many young men are receiving. The conversation emphasizes the importance of male role models, particularly in single-parent households, and the need for men to be more involved in kids' lives. The guests also discuss the impact of technology on relationships and loneliness, and the need for men to develop emotional skills and support each other. They propose men's groups as a way to help men develop emotional intelligence and support each other. The conversation also touches on the topic of dating and relationships, and the need for women to be more open-minded and willing to consider men who may not meet their initial expectations. The guests agree that men need to be more involved in kids' lives, and that women need to be more open-minded and willing to consider men who may not meet their initial expectation. They also note that the media needs to stop perpetuating unrealistic expectations and instead promote more realistic and healthy attitudes towards relationships. The conversation highlights the challenges faced by men in the modern dating world, and the need for men to develop emotional skills and support each other. The guests emphasize the importance of kindness, emotional intelligence, and rejection resilience in relationships. They also discuss the importance of forgiveness, both for parents and for young men themselves. The conversation turns to the topic of mental health and depression among young men, and the need for policy programs and economic solutions to address the challenges faced by young men. The guests suggest creating a list of resources, including men's groups and online therapy, to support young men. They also emphasize the importance of creating space for men to express their emotions and to seek help when they need it. The conversation concludes with the guests sharing their personal stories and experiences, and emphasizing the need for empathy and understanding in addressing the challenges faced by young men. If you are interested to listen to complete 20-minute summary and unlock detailed insights for each topic discussed in the video, check out quick podcast summaries on Spotify and Apple Podcasts with free trial, and later, just for the price of candy. Happy listening.